And he comes to a town called Medina. I've drawn new maps, so I won't draw another map. And he was very upset about a situation there because he learned that one of his sons, how many sons he had I don't know, who had been in charge of administration there, had been murdered in Medina. Now, Medina was not called Medina at that time. What does Medina mean in Arabic? Do you know? City, right. So basically it becomes the city of the prophets. Actually, it's Medina Munawwara. Medina, I'm not sure if I can spell it right. It's Medina, I guess it's like that. Medina Munawwara, the city of lights. The city of lights. But it's the city where the prophet developed his understanding of Islam, and where the Islamic religion and community was ultimately considered to have been born. And therefore it gets a special name, Medina, the city of really the prophet, or the city of lights. Prophet bringing light perhaps into the world. I'm not sure where the light comes from. What was it called before that? Yahweh. And see, this is stuff every Muslim knows. Every Muslim knows this, whether that Muslim comes from Nigeria or Indonesia. And therefore, if we were teaching American personnel, soldiers, and others to be culturally sensitive, they would be taught this in their orientation before they go out to these areas. And then people would respect them a lot because of their knowledge of local customs and so on. So just the fact that the soldier could say, oh, Medina, Yathrib, a local person would be awestruck that anybody would know this. So that just shows deep knowledge already of someone else's culture, which is what my point is in this class, to give you those underpinnings to some extent. Okay, now, so he's coming back through Medina, and he's very upset, and now this is really weird. In Medina are two Jewish rabbans, the translation here says, we can call them rabbis. What are Jewish rabbis doing in Medina in the 400s? Well, your guess is as good as mine, except they've been there for quite a long time. And they've probably been there longer than many of the tribes have been there from the south, because they probably came down in the wake of the Jewish wars against Rome when they fled Palestine and probably were refugees and went south. And that would be in the 1st, 2nd century AD. But if you take the book of Job as an example in the Bible, which is a 3rd or 4th century BC book, they already knew all the place names of northern Arabia, and Job, as I told you, living in northern Arabia, and certain oases that are familiar in northern Arabia are mentioned in the book of Job, like Timah. He goes to the oasis of Timah. Timah is a city not far, it's an oasis, not far from Yathrib. So even in the 4th century BC, the Jews knew about northern Arabia and its settled places, and Jews, or people perceived as being Jewish, were living there. And of course, in the southern part, we have the Solomon story going all the way back to the 1000s BC, 1000s BC. And Solomon is supposed to be involved with the queen of that area, the queen of Saba or Sheba, who later is considered to be an Ethiopian queen, but she was really a southern Arabian queen. It had to do with the Red Sea trade that Solomon was involved in, even in the Bible picture. And Solomon was supposed to have offspring from her. Whether that's a true or mythological story, I can't tell you. But the Ethiopians to this day, because Ethiopia was at some point conquered by the southern Arabians and interacted culturally with them anyway, consider their dynasties to be offshoots of the Queen of Sheba and Solomon, which is actually where you get groups like the Rastafarians functioning even in the modern period. You've heard of the Rastafarians, I take it. They consider Haile Selassie, the last king of Ethiopia, their, I don't know what you call him, supernatural savior figure, even though he died in a prison and killed by military officers probably. Because he once visited Jamaica and it rained in a drought there, and people were very impressed by a black African monarch who had come to Jamaica. And Haile Selassie's original name before he became Haile Selassie was Ras Tafar. Ras in Ethiopian meaning prince, and his first name being Tafar. So he was called Ras Tafar, and the Rastafarians come from that. But they're dating themselves all the way back to Solomon and Sheba through Haile Selassie. Well, you know, this is how legend sweeps through the universe, and maybe some truth somewhere along the line, there may not be. And I'm not here to evaluate the truth value, just to tell you, you know, what people think, not whether it's correct or not. If I can correct things, I will at times. Now, this Asad Kamil story, I would say the Jewish penetration of southern Arabia is very early. And Yemenite Jews, for instance, who came to Israel in 1947 and 48 in a big airlift after the first Arab-Israeli war.